you're having a good day. So my daughter actually introduced me to the hobby of playing with little trees here on Christmas of 2018 with a seed kit. This one and the bigger one actually spent some time in the ground. This one was in a pot that I let get some escape roots, but I've never had this one actually in the ground, so this one's actually now the smaller one. The other one was actually sickly and smaller than this one. I planted in the ground, and then it got really big. It's now probably twice the size of this one as far as trunk size goes. It doesn't have as much ramification. I just dug it up this spring. But this thing is getting so big right now in that it's taking up, in a way, too much water for the size of the pot. I'm having to water it like twice a day. Some days I'm not really around to do that. And it's just taking up a ton of room. The wind keeps catching it. I want to calm down the outer growth. If you go back and watch the last video of it, I wanted to actually encourage more growth out here, and I cut the apex way back, and then all of a sudden this out here was shading out. I mean, I say the apex, but you know, the main part of the trunk of the tree. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take these out. I like to wait. I don't know if it really makes much of a difference or not. When they grow like this, remember, each one of these, I've seen some people when they prune them, they consider these branches. This is just a leaf. This is the branch. Everything else on here is a complex leaf. But you can see right here, the trunk is nice and green in there. I say the branch is nice and green, flexible. I mean, I could have wired it if I wanted to, but where am I going to get any movement out of that? And then I don't know, it doesn't make any sense on a tree like this, I don't think. But right here where I cut it at, it was starting to lignify some, and then I left just the last two branches there, you know, just in the hopes that it keeps, because I'm going to pinch this one. This one's really small. But I'm hoping that it'll keep this ramification here, sprout a new branch here, and it'll probably get two out of this thicker side. And then I'm going to go ahead and get all the outer branches, pretty much do the same thing. It's another small kind of a sub branch there. This guy. And then that one too. And you can see the trunk a little bit better. Got some interesting movement around there. I have had it wired before. I've used mostly guy wires on it. I noticed that these four branches were now overshadowing the middle. And in the last video I was worried about the middle overshadowing the outside branches. And so it did what I had, kind of like tried to do. It just did a little bit too much. This was kind of getting dwarfed in here. So I was pulling these down with the guy wires. And then this one was really just had that ton of energy there. Where was it up to? And it was just getting to where, if I watered in the morning, by the afternoon it would be all wilted. If I watered in the afternoon, in the morning it'd be all wilted again. And so now it'll take up a little less water, and I can let this part catch up. I figure about the time it gets about up to here, I'll go ahead and chop that off too, and then try to see if I can't start balancing it out from there. I'm just going to hang on to this video, and we'll travel back to whatever time this is. Today's July 10th, so I did this work July 10th. Alright, and that was just about a month ago. You can see where it's recovering nicely, getting some good back budding. When I say that when you cut one of these branches, you always get two new branches. Of course, I just use the word always, but usually I say that you usually get two new branches there. And right here's a good example of, I cut right there, and only one came out. It's got a little sprig there, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of remove. I left some of the older leaves when I did that chop a month ago. Not really necessary, I don't think, on these tropicals. Sometimes I just do it for a little bit of assurance for leaving some life on the branch. And now I think that just taking some of the older ones off that I left just kind of helps neaten it up a little bit. Keep it kind of tidy looking for my garden out there. Alright, now I'm going to go get the bigger one. Alright, and I guess kind of obviously this is the bigger one. So as these, I dug this up. I do believe it was January I did a video. And then I'm not sure what month it was. I did a little update on it and it had some little shoots that were probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches long. It actually did, kind of surprisingly to me, take a long time to recover. Now it's fully recovered. When these were still, you can see up here where the shoot is still nice and green, down here is starting to lignify. When the whole thing was still green, I was taking and trying to bend them out. If I hadn't, this one here would be, straight up like that. This one would be just straight up. And so with this one, it's basically 4 branches right now. You got the main trunk and then 2 sub trunks. There's 3 branches on this and then 1 good one on this. There's one with just a little bit of life right there. I'm not going to touch that today. I don't want anything to happen to that. But I was taking, bending them out. I noticed that it started getting lignified right where it meets the trunk. And I was actually breaking it so it would come away some, because like today I'm going to chop it right about here. And so now I want them, when they back bud, to kind of be away from each other. I don't want them back budding all the way on the trunk. When you see these things in nature, it kind of starts with the trunk and then kind of comes up into a little bit of a candelabra type of a effect. And so I want them as far away from each other as I can, so I have a wider tree instead of everything just kind of growing on top of itself. And I was thinking, did I want to leave it like this all through the winter, or did I want to go ahead and chop it with a little bit of growing season left? And then I can't get this on a turntable. I have to just kind of turn it around like that. And I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago, when I noticed that they were getting super lignified, because I was kind of bending them up 2-3 weeks ago. And then it was about maybe 10 days ago, I went and I tested this branch right here, and it just broke. I mean, just as soon as I went to go test it, I was like, oh, this is getting lignified, and then it just kind of broke right off. And so I decided that was my signal that I'd go ahead and chop them now. I probably can't zoom in well enough to see it, but they're actually even starting to get a couple little back buds there. So I want to go ahead and do it now so this thing's kind of back budding evenly. And so I'm going to start right there. I broke that one, so I just want it to be a nice even cut. And then right in here, I think I'm going to cut. I'm going to try to keep it around the same height as that. And so I'll get that one there. This one I'll go for about the same height too. And then this one, obviously it's the strongest branch, and it's much higher. It even starts much higher than any of the other 3. So I'll go ahead and get that guy right there. Plenty of growing season left here in Florida. Should get nice little back buds. And then these things, they're not really being tropical like this and being in the tropics. They do lose their leaves, but it's like towards the end of January, February, and I think they just kind of like start falling off right at the last minute before the spring hits, just before everything kind of bursts back to life. But we'll see what happens.